What's happening, world? It's time to dive into local and national news topics that are guaranteed to put a positive spin on your day. Join us as we discuss impactful headlines and local events designed to enrich your life. Enjoy your cruise with good news.
This show is sponsored by Action Specialty Carts, Metro Atlanta's #1 dealer for golf cart sales, service, and rentals. Visit ascarts.com to learn more. Welcome back to Wake in Atlanta. I am Tim Ray, your co-host on the Conscious Morning Show, along with...
Good morning, guys. Shannon McVeigh, and I've got to be honest, I was saying during the commercial break, I have anxiety from that last interview. Oh, she was such a beautiful soul, and I love her, but what she had to go through is literally too much for me. I had to take off my headphones for a little bit because I can't handle it. Yeah. So thank God for you carrying that.
Well, that's where that fine line is drawn on what people experience and then transforming those experiences into something greater.
Yes.
But in the meantime, guys,
let's change it.
Yes.
Let's talk about
what's going on in the good news. And one of the good news, I have to say, I ran into one of the videos Peggy Hall did. She's calling from Orange County, LA, which is the rioting's still going on, or at least the protests are still going on down there.
Orange County, I thought was San Diego.
Is it LA? No, it's LA, right? Orange
County.
Orange County is between Los Angeles and San Diego. We're right in the thick of things.
Tomato. Peggy, welcome.
You're welcome, Peggy. So,
Thank you.
I don't know if you have the video, if not to play that, Ashley, the second of it or not. But if you don't, it's okay because we have Peggy live here. So, Peggy, you came on and you shared what's going on with the masks, and you were saying that that what's going on basically is this is not only harming people to wear masks, but is actually against OSHA regulations. At least we know in California. The amount of oxygen each person needs to take in on any given moment. Why don't you tell us first what motivated you even to go here and go there?
It's pretty bad here in Orange County. We used to be a very easygoing beachside community, and somehow I woke up to an America that I didn't recognize. Yeah. And when my husband came home one day, not too long ago, and said they're making masks mandatory in Orange County, which is 3.5 months after this local emergency was called and the state of emergency was called, I am the person, when someone tells me to do something, I don't say, okay, I say, why? Mm-hmm. And I started digging deeper. And I know, as a health educator for 20 years, I know about how the body works. Everyone knows how the body works. And you know that oxygen is the most essential nutrient you need to stay alive. Mm-hmm. You can live for a few weeks without food. I could probably live a little bit longer. You can live without water, for a couple of days. You can only live without oxygen for a few minutes. And I started digging deeper, and I realized that, wearing a mask is a type of medical intervention. You're going from living a normal, regular life to changing. It's called a health behavior. And local emergency orders and state emergency orders are designed for something in the moment, in the immediate moment, to mobilize and not to drag this out for 3 months.
Right.
So only a medical doctor can give you the clearance to wear a mask. And this is from OSHA, which is federal regulations as well as state regulations. If you are going to wear an N95 respirator, a respirator simply means that there's some oxygen being exchanged. You have to be examined and fitted professionally. You go through a specific protocol. You never touch you never contaminate the mask. You use loopes, you wash your hands. The masks are very carefully monitored and cleaned, and you have to check them. They're disposed of in a sanitary manner, like a hazardous waste container. And I thought, how in the world can the general public be told to do this health behavior without getting medical clearance? Mm-hmm. I made a video about this. I made a video about the state of emergency, which is illegal and unlawful based according to law. And when I started to dig deeper, many people would email me info, and I heard from many individuals who work under these OSHA regulations that are concerned with the atmosphere and safety in the workplace. When someone is working in a confined place, like they're working in the attic or they're working with different dust particles
chemicals,
and things, Yeah, you're right. They need to protect their respiratory system. Ironically, this illness affects the respiratory
Mhm.
system, and the very actions they're asking us to take harm the respiratory system. What I found out was that OSHA regulations require atmosphere to be maintained at 19.5 um, percent oxygen, 19.5. If you go below that in the atmosphere, you are putting yourself at what's called IDLH. This is government established language.
And
Immediate,
regulations where they
Wait,
go. There's a board that approves this. They think it through. They
that's
test it
right.
out.
wait,
Not
time
some
out.
not some random policy that's just thrown out.
And
You're
there
exactly
and
right.
people are asking where exactly is this regulation? Where can they find this regulation to see
They
for
can find,
themselves?
yeah, we should why don't we put a link up for that, and
Yeah,
then they can
yeah,
find it,
okay.
because in each law will take the federal regulations and then distill it down to their state law. State law can be more strict than the federal, but it cannot be looser than the federal. So in the
Mm.
California law, there's section 5144. It's actually called respiratory conditions at work. Now I want to be very clear, because people ask me about this. This is not measuring the oxygen saturation in your blood like you do with a little monitor on your finger. If you've ever been to the hospital or the doctor, they might monitor the oxygen in your blood. This is measuring the oxygen in the atmosphere. The other question people have said, well, Peggy, I'm not wearing a respirator at work, I'm at the grocery store. Well, regardless of who you are or where you are, the government has established limits regarding oxygen levels. And people have sent me videos where they put on a mask, like a
Mhm.
cloth mask,
Right.
and they took a little device that measures the oxygen in the atmosphere. They put it inside the mask, and it started beeping because it went
Wow.
below
Oh,
19.5. And
wow.
what people don't realize, my friends, is that this is a slow suffocation. People
Yes.
have been passing out in the grocery
Oh
store.
my
I've
gosh.
heard of people falling and cutting their head.
Ugh.
Grocery stores and
I've
other
seen it
stores.
Now
happen.
I see your passion about
I
this.
seen it happen with the kids at the gym.
Ugh.
This dopey parent has their little
Don't
8-year-old
even
kid
tell
wearing
me
a mask,
this.
and the kid
Oh my-
passed out on the
What?
treadmill.
Are you joking?
No, I'm dead serious. And this is what my concern is, Peggy. You got the governor. Governor Kemp just came out here in Georgia, who opened up, right? He said, listen, everyone should still wear their masks. And they're mandating at Costco, at Publix, everywhere you go, that the employees have to wear masks. Not only are they harming themselves, not only are they creating an atmosphere where more people would want to wear masks because they're
Yes.
wearing masks, but they're literally harming themselves, right?
It's the exact wrong thing to do. And here's why. You need to have oxygen, a free flow of oxygen, so that your respiratory system and immune system and brain function will operate correctly. You need to have sunlight and oxygen. We all know that people have dirty masks around their chin and then put them on their nose and mouth. But what I want to say is what you mentioned is that these are not statutes. They are not laws that were passed by the legislature. The governor in any state has zero authority to order any person of the public to do anything.
Peggy,
We
Only
need the stores to stop. My
Yes.
sister works for Trader Joe's. She wears that mask 8 hours a day. She
Yes.
has to.
So
I have the remedy.
okay, and before we get to the remedy, Peggy, you got people are being arrested, have been arrested for not wearing a mask.
What?
Yes, in New York, they're arresting people before
This is
the riot.
insane.
They have been arresting people.
This is insane.
So there's no regulations. The CDC is saying you should wear a mask, and they tell all the local national health departments. They say yes, wear a mask. They're telling churches wear masks. It's like this is being forced down, and there's no policy for it. So what is the solution here?
My solution is local and vocal. These health orders are coming from a local public health officer, and that health officer does not have free reign to institute these non-emergency orders. These health officers are overseen by a governing board. Now, you have to admit, New York and California are the outliers. These are the militaristic, communistic, oppressive, tyrannical
States.
I can't even really use governors or govern.
Yeah.
There is no government that is according to the people any longer in those states.
Right.
But there is hope in the other areas. And I still am digging deeper. You go before these governing bodies and you bring the language of the law. In California, it states that a local emergency can only be called at the introduction. That's the word, an introduction of a contagious disease. And it can only last for 7 days. Then it needs to undergo governing review to be ratified or nullified. We are putting that language in the faces of our representatives. Now, whether they abide by it or not, at least we are calling it out and we are alerting the rest of the public. And here's what has to happen. I call it mask hysteria. We have got to have a mask hysteria. When you go into the store and someone's speaking to you with a mask on, you say, mask, can't hear you, mask. You make them remove the mask before you speak to them.
Right.
You carry the orders from your public health officer that will state that there is a clause that says you do not have to wear it if you have a breathing condition or a health condition.
Right.
My medical condition is I need to breathe.
Right.
So I don't say a word. I make them read the paper in their own words to me with their mask off.
For you.
I do not engage with anyone. If anyone says anything to me, I make very visible gestures that the mask it violates so many laws. Of course, it violates our constitutional right to a free and can engage in society and go shopping without intimidation. Think about those. And most of us, it's very difficult to hear someone behind a mask. That is a violation of many laws.
I'd say, listen, take the mask off. I said, just breathe. Take it over your nose, at least breathe.
Listen, because we do have to go. We have other news to get to, but we need this link up. So you're going to send it, or you have it.
Can you put the link up, too, for the OSHA? Because everyone needs to look at their local OSHA regulations. And then, you know what? Send letters out to Costco. Send letters out to Publix. Send them out and say, listen, stop with this. You're actually harming the employees. And if I was an employee for one of these companies, I would start suing right now.
Well, then they need to do it.
They need to start suing right now, because that's why you're going to stop this madness, because they're going to try and enforce this on there. Peggy, I want to thank you so much for coming in and sharing this incredible wisdom.
Make sure you put the link in, though, so people can find it on our website, okay?
Hey, friends, I've got a link to a letter from I've got a link from the letter from the CEO from Costco, and it even states you can enter the store without a mask. Print that out at thehealthyamerican.org.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Peggy. Thank you so much.